right, Maya?
Yeah. I lost you. I cannot see it.
Turn on your camera and turn it back on and
I
off.
can't.
Oh, geez for that. Should I do that? Okay. I could call her to them. She said call her back. You know why? Because of the camera. Because of the camera was on. Dad, you know what Maya said?
What?
She said, I have to call her back. Why?
Why?
Because her camera didn't come on at all. So that's why.
Okay, good. Call her back.
This is a good idea, right, Dad?
Uh-huh. Here, let me see my phone for a minute. I know, just hand it to me. Yep.
Dad,
Huh.
I don't know how to get back to her. I think she's calling another person.
You've spent all year getting your character upgrades, so why not get yourself an upgrade IRL? Introducing the brand new Corsair Scimitar Death, another optimized Ultima before the boss teleports to the center and begins an enraged cast. You'll need to destroy him in this. You'll need to dodge his initial movement and be ready to move back into the center once he hits that marker and changes the location of the quicksand. The boss will then hit his claw marker and players can identify which side becomes unsafe. Move to the safe side to avoid death. Another optimized Ultima before the boss teleports to the center and begins an enraged cast. Then teleport into the center and begin another Flexiclaw phase. This Raven's Claw will have behind the boss to avoid death, followed by another and west of the platform, forcing players can split along avoid getting hit by the boss. Since they're all also targeted for homing lasers, each player throwing out massive frontal cleaves as he goes. All players will need to move to the edges of the platform to avoid getting hit by the boss. Since they're all also targeted for homing lasers, each player will need to spread along the edge to avoid overlap. To keep positioning consistent, players can split along the edges in the same groups they took their homing laser stack in. Immediately after, 2 proximity-based markers will appear in the east, each cardinal point, and the boss available to you. Once all 3 mines are down in the middle of the platform, you need to dodge his becomes unsafe. Depending on damage on a set timer, but can be ignored for now. Negative Personae will render the boss invulnerable and target all players with either an orange Pall of Rage debuff or a blue Pall of Grief debuff. 2 Raven's Image ads will also appear on the platform with their own version of these debuffs. Players will only be able to deal damage to the ad of the opposite debuff or color. If you find that the ad you're targeting is invulnerable, then you're targeting the incorrect one. Each tank will grab their ad and keep them on the east and west sides of the platform. If they get too close, they'll tether together and become immune to damage. First, Meteor Stream will target all damage dealers with these circle markers. Affected players will need to move away from one another to avoid overlapping damage. This hits pretty hard, so healers beware. The 2 ads will then cast Greater Memory, buffing themselves up with a stack of damage up. They will then both cast either Iron Chariot, a point-blank AoE circle around the ad, or Lunar Dynamo, a large donut attack in any possible combo. To handle this, the players will need to pay attention to their particular ad and move accordingly. Since the 2 ads are being kept far apart in the east and the west, staying close to your ad will naturally help you dodge the attacks from the other ad across the platform. Just be careful to dodge your ad's Iron Chariots towards the north or the south to avoid getting clipped by the other side. At the same time, the boss is casting Negative Effect, which will spawn 1 blue and 1 orange head that will tether to the 2 furthest players from them. If a player touches these ads, they will explode and you will die. These heads must be dragged into the Raven's Image ads of the opposite color to destroy them. Doing so will also remove the stacking damage up buff from these images. While the heads slowly make their way to their targets, damage dealers will again need to spread apart for Meteor Stream. Up next, each ad will target their tanks with Ruby Claw, 5 heavy hits in quick succession. Be sure to cool down and heal through this as necessary. The boss will then cast Change Apart, causing the debuffs on each ad to swap to the opposite color. If the ads are not dead before this time, the tanks will need to quickly swap targets to maintain their position on the platform, and all players will need to switch targets to continue their attacks. These ad phase mechanics can repeat here until the ads are destroyed. Once the ads are down, you may resume your attack on the boss. Negative Aura is a gaze attack that all players will need to look away from. Getting hit by this will confuse your character and potentially kill you by running you into a wall. Around this time, Dalamed will fall in the background, dealing massive raid-wide damage. Be ready with raid cooldowns, shields, and heals. Another Meteor Project cast will again reform Dalamed for another AoE after that time. Meteor Mine will mark up all players with a meteor marker numbered from 1 to 8. These markers will call down small meteors under players that will deal proximity-based damage in order from 1 to 8 that will persist for some time before exploding in the same order. Immediately after, the boss will cast Magitech Meteor, which will call down a massive meteor in the center of the platform that will destroy anything it hits. To easily handle this combo, all players will utilize the same assigned cardinal and intercardinal positions from the first phase. Players 1 through 7 will drop their meteors at their positions on the outer edge of the platform. As soon as your numbered meteor marker disappears, a proximity-based damage marker will form beneath you, and you'll have time to move into the center to reduce damage. The 8th meteor player has the responsibility to drop their meteor slightly away from the wall, or better yet, on the boss's hitbox to allow for melee uptime. However, be aware that the closer your meteor falls to the boss, the more damage you'll take in the center, so be ready with those heals and shields. This final 8th meteor is what uses to hide the Magitech meteor into the center of the platform. Before that happens, the boss will cast Screech, which will knock back all players a set distance from the center. The timing on this is incredibly tight, and players will need to get knocked back in the direction of the final meteor to then immediately hide behind it for the blast. Alternatively, you can use your knockback immunity and manually position yourself yourself behind that meteor and avoid the knockback completely. As soon as the damage from the massive Magitech meteor is avoided, all players will need to move away from the 8th meteor before it explodes to avoid excess damage. Immediately after, Mark II Magitech meteor will form 2 moving circle AoEs around the platform. These circle AoEs will move in the direction indicated by their arrows before finally settling on the platform. The 2 tanks will need to stand in these circles once they settle to hold back the incoming comets. If a comet is allowed to fall to the platform, you will die. The rest of the group will need to destroy each comet on the tanks, while the healers keep them alive. Tanks can also pop cooldowns before getting under each comet to minimize damage. During this time, Bradamante will target 2 players with orange markers each time. Soon after,
What, babe?
Can I tell her I said I left for her?
Tell her you can tell her what she wants. What you want.
Oh, with her,
column attacks will shoot out from the boss in their direction. These players must make sure that they angle these attacks away from the comet tanks or you will die. Around this time, the second fall of Dalaman will occur, so shoot out from the boss in their direction. These players must make sure that they angle these attacks away from the comet tanks or you will die. Around this time, the second fall of Dalaman will occur, so get ready for some heavy damage to heal through. One final meteor project cast will form Dalaman again. This timer marks the final enrage, so you'll need to destroy the boss as quickly as possible. The boss will then cast 2 rounds of outrage, dealing high raid-wide damage. Healers beware. Immediately after, Meteor Stream will target either all DPS or all tanks and healers. Spread apart to avoid overlap. The second round of Meteor Stream will target the other 4 players. Another 2 outrage casts to heal through before Dalaman falls one final time. You'll need to destroy the ruby weapon before this time or the phase resets. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll head into the Savage.
Somebody knocking? Huh? No, our door.
Dad, what's this?
Okay.
Sonny, stop!
Yep, good.
Oh, yay! Oh my gosh, it's really hard.
Here. Hurry up and answer it.
Can I put it on camera thing again?
Yeah, answer it.
What happened? It worked! No! Oh, the popcorn. Come on. God, I should have known that. Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Are you speaking?
What?
Oh my, you need a picture mic or something.
I saw it!
Hey, hold on, I'm gonna turn my game volume down.
No, Mark. You have to look at your own phone real quick, because I have stuff to say.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
And I'm using my mom's tablet, and I'm using my dad's phone for you to call.
Not too long ago.
You know what? You ready to hear this song? Are you ready? Oh, you hear that? I just turned it off.
Trying to